I would like to welcome my first guest here into the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. Krystal Noiseux with the Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation is around the corner talking about the Recycle Right campaign. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, Kate. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Step on over a little closer and let folks know they're going to be seeing some stuff in the mail.
Yes.
About Recycling Right. Now, this is a big global effort.
Yes, it's a part of an initiative called Recycle Across America. So the idea behind Recycle Across America is that recycling receptacles in the United States should look the same. They should have the same kind of clear, consistent messaging to help you recycle right no matter where you are. And Rhode Island was actually the first state in the nation to adopt this program. We followed a lot of local governments, cities, towns, counties, school departments, and a lot of big businesses have adopted this. Disney, Sony, NBC, Universal, Whole Foods. But we're the first state.
We're on the cutting edge.
We are on the cutting edge. So basically what they've done is they've created a labeling system. The thought is that, there was a time in the United States where, when motor vehicles just started coming about, where every single local auto club in the United States had to come up with their own signage and figure out how to manage traffic, right? And it got a little crazy, and then finally someone said, how about we all get together and agree on like an octagonal red sign?
A stop sign.
Yeah. Like, okay, so then when we travel, we don't have car accidents. We're trying to basically do the same thing for recycling, make that stop sign. So Recycle Across America has created this national label, and what it does is it's very clean and neat and has the most basic information that you need to be a good recycler. And because recycling programs vary in the United States, they wanted to start with things that are, no matter where you are in the United States, if you have access to a mixed recycling program, there's a really good chance that these are accepted in your bin. In Rhode Island, we're really fortunate. We can actually recycle more than the national sort of average.
So let's start with these forks. It might be a little small to start in, but we're talking papers, we're talking cans, glass, and plastic.
Right. So one of the misnomers is that if it's plastic, glass, or metal, then you can recycle it. And that's not true. There's specific things within those categories. So if we switch it over to what is accepted for Rhode Island, we have paper and cardboard that are flattened, and cartons as well. So your milk, your soup, your juice.
No, it's going to be flat. So what if you have like a cereal box?
Flatten it. Okay. It helps it to sort correctly through our facility. Containers have shape to them, dimension, so they're going to move a different way in the mechanical sorting system, and the paper and the cardboard remain nice and flat, and they move the same way.
So what about like your creamer? Flatten that?
Cartons should keep their shape because they're a container. So we actually want those to take a different path than the paper and the cardboard. That's a great question because they're all.
I'm going to ask you all those questions.
That's a great question because they're all kind of natural fiber materials if you think about it. It's paper, cardboard that are flattened, and then cartons, and you want to keep those.
Okay, cartons keep your shape. Paper flatten it out. Where do pizza boxes fall under?
Pizza boxes are okay. You can, as long as there's just a little bit of grease in the bottom of the box. 9 times out of 10, that's all you really have left.
Yep. You've eaten most of it.
And you can flatten it and you can put it in your recycling bin. No problem with that. If it's full of grease and cheese and sauce, you can rip off the top and you can just recycle the clean top. So
recycle the top. Okay.
So that kind of covers fiber. When it comes to metal, just because it's metal doesn't mean you should be putting it in your recycling bin. So in Rhode Island, we accept metal cans and their lids and foil. That's it. No
anything of metal you can say definitely don't put in.
If it's not a can or foil. So name anything. What about this metal hanger from my closet? Is it a can or a foil?
No hangers.
No wire hangers.
What happens at resource recovery when things come in that aren't supposed to be recycled end up in that group of materials?
So I guess the important thing to remember is that we're not like trying to get everyone to be perfect. People are always going to make mistakes, and that's okay. The system's very sophisticated. It's designed to handle those mistakes, but it's not designed to handle like a ton of garbage and trash and the recycling. And if we get a load that is, passing and decent, we can still process it through the facility. If we get one that a part of the load is really highly contaminated, we'll try to like scoop out that part of the load and process the rest. But unfortunately, we get loads that are highly contaminated throughout the entire load. If you get things like food waste or liquid waste, that paint that gets all over the otherwise good recyclables, we can't recycle them, and those entire loads would be rejected. Cost the city money. You have to pay the fee because it's rejected. It has to go into the landfill. It's a waste.
So this is why the education campaign's out there talking with folks. Let's see, we've hit pizza boxes, no hangers.
We got metal, glass. So again, just because it's glass doesn't mean you can recycle it in your bin.
Wine bottles.
Yes, bottles and jars is the rule. So a wine bottle is a bottle. Go ahead and put it in your recycling bin or car. We want containers to be empty at a minimum and rinsed whenever possible. If you're at home, the sink's there, you can rinse it. If you're at the ballpark and you finish, you know, a can of soda, you can't rinse it, but it's empty. That's still okay. Empty at a minimum, rinsed whenever possible. Bottles and jars when it comes to glass. So a glass, you know, a drinking glass or a glass light bulb, they're made of glass, but they're not bottles or jars. They don't belong in your recycling. And I also get questions about the tops.
Yep.
So glass bottles and jars usually have metal tops.
Yep.
So we just ask you to take the metal top off, but recycle them both separately.
I'm assuming corks.
Corks.
Big no.
If you're a backyard composter, you can compost them, but other than that, they would go in the trash.
So question about you with glass, because a lot of times when you get materials, you get things from the store, sometimes they have the label underneath. Sometimes they have that great, you know, Weaver's, you know, that type of the triangle or that label. So how does that play into it?
That's an excellent question, and it's something that we struggle with greatly. And not just in Rhode Island, our colleagues across the country struggle with this because there's no real regulation that stops a company from using that chasing arrow symbol or using it to frame the number. That was the original like type of plastic resin. Sometimes you see the numbers in them. And so the best piece of advice I can give, even though it seems counterintuitive, is to ignore that language on the packaging. All you need to remember are the 4 categories of things that you can recycle in Rhode Island, and that's it. You can ignore all of the numbers and the chasing arrow symbols and any kind of messaging.
So don't look at it and be like, what am I? Can I do
no,
this?
squid, put it up to the light, because sometimes it's, yes, you can, and sometimes it's not really something that's accepted.
And now we're on to the 4th category.
Yes.
So plastic containers.
Plastic. So that's you said the keyword. Took it right out of your mouth. Containers. Containers. A plastic item has to be in the form of a container. A bottle, a tub, a cup, a jar, you know, it's a
Don't go throwing out Legos.
Perfect example. Your Lego is not a container. It's plastic. You're right, it's plastic. It's not a container. It doesn't belong in your bid or cart at home. Again, empty at a minimum, rinse whenever possible, and be reasonable. People say, oh, you know, my peanut butter jar, I've had people tell me that they run it through the dishwasher, and I say, oh, like,
bless your heart.
Like bless your heart. Kind of awesome, but at the same time, not necessary. I mean, if you scrape out as much as you possibly can, in the grand scheme of things, you're still giving us good quality recycling. So we want to make it easy for people. We want them to, if you can memorize these 4 categories, and you didn't do anything else, and you do nothing more.
Just do
these. Good recycling.
And I'm going to grab it. Is it a sticker?
It's a label.
It's a label. So do you want this in a good visible location in people's homes? On your recycling bin?
Yes. So the way that you can do that is if you got the mailer in the mail, we actually have the basic guidelines, which just gives you a little more detail about the program. It starts with the label and just gives you some examples of things that break the rule, like we talked about.
And there's a big one here: no plastic bags.
Number 1 contaminant in our recycling facility: plastic bags, and not just loose plastic bags, because you can bring plastic bags back to any large store in Rhode Island, grocery store, pharmacy. Big box store, there's a container at the
and they have
to
their
the
own
exit.
program to be
Yes,
able to deal with
it's a separate program for plastic bags, but one of the biggest things we struggle with in terms of plastic bags, people doing the right thing, maybe even following the basic recycling rules, putting it in a side of plastic bags and putting it in their container. No. The way the sorting system works, the recyclables have to be loose when they enter the sorting system. If you're not familiar with, you know, what happens to your recycling when it leaves your curb, totally go to our website or check out our YouTube channel. We have an awesome virtual tour. You can also come up and tour yourself.
So don't stick it in bags. What about paper bags?
Paper bags still, like, we still need, I'll put it this way.
Flatten those out.
We still need it to be loose when it enters that first conveyor belt into our facility. It has to be loose.
Okay.
So I know that some people still have the open-topped smaller bins. They don't have the carts with the top, and they're concerned about wind-blown litter. Like if I put the paper in loose, it's going to end up being wind-blown litter. And so my advice is if you're going to collect something in a paper bag and kind of nestle it in your recycling bin, put a little tear in the paper bag once you do it. That way when it tips out into the truck, you know it's going to become loose. You know what I mean?
Everything
like once
comes
it leaves
out.
your curb, and then it's absolutely fine.
So how many places still have those kind of open-ended bins? You know, Providence all has the closed top.
Yeah,
so
I would say I can count them on one hand in terms of cities and towns that still collect that way. So most people have the nice covered top.
Now I saw here on the sticker that, again, no plastic bags. But when you have the mailer, there were some more on there. So let's maybe touch upon what those are.
Yes. So there are a couple of exceptions to each rule that we think are like really important. They're not like nitty-gritty details, but are really important. So there's one in the paper category, and there's 2 in the there's 2 in the paper category and 2 in the plastic. Paper, no shredded paper, and no like sanitary, like napkins, tissues, paper towels.
Oh, okay.
So if you could remember 2 types of paper to keep out of your recycling bin no matter what: shredded paper, napkins, tissues.
Now why is
paper
shredded
towels.
bad? Is it kind of Muck up the system?
It goes everywhere. You know what Hollywood snow is, and you have to fake us to see? Hollywood snow in the recycling facility. We've tried different ways to be able to have people recycle it and capture it, and every way has unfortunately failed. And it's most single-stream facilities like ours don't take shredded paper.
No shredded paper, and again, none of the napkins, paper
tissues,
towels,
paper
tissues.
towels.
That goes garbage.
Right, and then the two exceptions with, we have it in English and Spanish
Oh,
here.
very good.
Wonderful. The two exceptions with the plastic, no foam containers, your styrofoam coffee cup.
Dunkin' Donuts cups.
No, not the styrofoam one.
But the plastic
one,
you've had a nice coffee.
it's a container.
So if you have the plastic in the styrofoam and you've gone out because you don't want it to sweat, take the plastic out.
Yep.
Styrofoam.
Yep.
Then that goes and mucks up the environment, so maybe don't get styrofoam in the first place.
Or use the same styrofoam cup every day as your cooling cup. You can reuse it. It's really durable.
Doesn't get dirty. Just stick the cup in it.
Use it again and again. So that's one of the plastic, and the other one that's definitely like a safety issue. Plastic containers that once held flammable fluids. Your automotive oil, antifreeze, things like that. Those containers are never really empty. We don't want you to wash them, rinse them down the drain. When they're empty to your eye, they're safe for disposal in the trash, but we never want those inside the recycling.
So flammable liquids. What about like household products, like cleaners or Drano or things like that?
It's really the things that are flammable, that are kind of viscous. They have like a thickness to them that even when you empty out the bottle, there's still a film, and it can still build up the kind of fumes that can make them combustible. So it's really those thick flammable fluids. If you have an empty bottle of Windex, I mean, you're using it as a cleaner, right? You're using it, you're rinsing things down the drain with it. You can give it a quick rinse and you can recycle that. It's really those thick flammable.
So has everyone gotten this yet in the mail?
If you haven't gotten it last week, if you didn't get it last week, you will get it this week and or next week. And it has, like I said, the English guidelines and the Spanish guidelines, and it's part of a larger campaign that we're doing called Let's Recycle Right. And we have a bunch of local Rhode Island celebrities that are helping us out. Secretary of State Corp is involved with it. Lieutenant Governor McKee is involved with it.
Oh, look, she's holding newspapers.
Look at that, snacking newspaper. Because it's paper.
Because it's where they belong, in the recycle bin.
In the recycle bin, exactly.
That's
right.
why you should read digital.
Yep. And then we have other local celebrities. We have the CEOs or executive directors from Save the Bay, Lifespan, the Rhode Island Foundation. We have Gabe Toro, who's the head coach of CCRI Soccer. We have Chachi Cavarlo, who's a rapper from Pawtucket. Like, we just have a bunch of different local celebrities that all said this is important for our community, and if we can help you get out that message that recycling right is important. And when we say recycling right, what we mean is recycle everything you can that is accepted in Rhode Island's mixed recycling program, but nothing more. Sometimes people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, Krystal, you would be so happy. We recycle everything in our house."
And
I go,
don't do it.
Make
sure it's right.
I don't want you to recycle everything, but I do want you to recycle everything you can that's accepted in our program. Absolutely. So we're really trying to get that message out. We're trying to make it super simple for people. You follow the basic guidelines, you'll be a great recycler. Some people want more information. They want the little nitty-gritty detail of what do I do with this part of this thing and how should I prepare this? And that's awesome. We love that. We love you guys. You're our super recyclers. And we keep that level of detailed information on our website. So you can always go to our website if you have a question that's not answered by this mailer, or if it generates a question for you, please go to our yes.
Be getting that in the mail.
Stickers.
Well, every Friday we have EcoRI come in during the 4 o'clock hour, so I said, let's build off this environmental theme here today. I knew you were launching the new campaign, wanted to bring it right to folks. And if you're watching us live, fantastic. After the fact, we'll have some links for you to be able to go to Resource Recovery to find out more information as well. Krystal Noiseux, I appreciate you coming in today.
So much,
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Krystal Noiseux with the Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation. We'll let you go around the